Let's talk about Canada, a country that's way more than snow, hockey, and polite people. Sure, those are the stereotypes, but there's so much more beneath the surface. Canada is a land of contrasts where warmth and friendliness thrive even in the chilliest winters, and where every city street buzzes with a unique energy. Canadians are known for their kindness, but they're also resilient, creative, and full of surprises. It's massive. In fact, Canada is the second largest country in the world, stretching from the Atlantic to the Pacific and all the way up to the Arctic. You could fit most of Europe inside and still have room for a few lakes. Actually, a lot of lakes. Canada has more lakes than any other country, and its sheer size means you could travel for days and still not see it all. The distances are so vast that a cross-country road trip can take weeks, and you'll pass through countless different landscapes along the way. From Newfoundland's rugged wind-battered shores to the lush, misty rainforests of British Columbia, the landscape changes so much, it feels like you're traveling between different worlds. In the east, you'll find dramatic cliffs and crashing waves. In the west, towering mountains and ancient forests. In between, there are endless prairies, sparkling lakes, and even deserts. Each region has its own personality, shaped by the land and the people who call it home. Canada's people are just as varied. Indigenous nations with deep roots and rich traditions, French and English settlers who shaped the country's early history, and newcomers from every corner of the globe. This mix of cultures creates a vibrant, ever-evolving society where traditions are honored and new ideas are always welcome. You'll find festivals celebrating everything from Diwali to St. Jean-Baptiste Day, and communities where dozens of languages are spoken. Walk through Toronto or Vancouver, and you'll hear a dozen languages before you hit the next block. These cities are melting pots, where people from all backgrounds come together to create something uniquely Canadian. The food, the music, the art, all reflect this incredible diversity. Whether you're grabbing sushi in Vancouver, shawarma in Toronto, or poutine in Montreal, you're tasting the world without ever leaving the country. Life in Canada isn't the same everywhere. A farmer in Saskatchewan, a fisherman in Nova Scotia, and a city dweller in Montreal all see a different country. Rural life moves at a slower pace, shaped by the rhythms of the land and sea, while city life is fast, dynamic, and full of opportunities. No matter where you are, though, there's a strong sense of community and a deep connection to the land. Our geography is wild, sweeping prairies that stretch to the horizon, ancient rocks of the Canadian Shield that have stood for billions of years, and postcard-worthy mountains that draw adventurers from around the world. The natural beauty here is breathtaking, and it's a big part of what makes Canada so special. Whether you love hiking, skiing, or just soaking in the scenery, there's always something new to discover. What unites us? It's the little things, like grabbing a Tim Hortons coffee on a frosty morning, groaning together when the first snow falls in October, and sharing a stubborn, unshakable pride in our home. Canadians may joke about the weather, but deep down we love the challenge and the beauty of our seasons. We celebrate our differences, but we're also bound by a shared sense of humor and a belief in looking out for one another. Canada is a sprawling, ever-changing puzzle, and we wouldn't have it any other way. Every province and territory adds its own piece to the story, and together they create a country that's always growing, always adapting, and always surprising. From the northern lights in Yukon to the bustling streets of Toronto, there's a sense of wonder that never fades. It's a place that's always adding new pieces to the story. Newcomers arrive every day, bringing fresh perspectives and dreams. Young families explore cities and wilderness alike, building new memories and traditions. In Canada, the story is never finished, and that's exactly how we like it. Long before the idea of Canada even existed, this vast land was home to a rich tapestry of peoples and cultures. The forests, rivers, and plains echoed with the stories and songs of those who had lived here for thousands of years, shaping the land and being shaped by it in return. Hundreds of distinct Indigenous nations thrived across what we now call Canada, each with their own unique languages, spiritual beliefs, and ways of life. These communities were deeply connected to the land, drawing wisdom and sustenance from it, and passing down knowledge through generations. Each nation had its own systems of governance, intricate trade networks, and vibrant traditions. Councils met to make decisions, artisans crafted tools and art, and trade routes stretched from coast to coast, linking distant peoples in a web of exchange and diplomacy. The Haida of the Pacific Northwest carved towering totem poles that told stories of their ancestors. The Cree hunted bison across the sweeping plains, while the Inuit thrived in the Arctic's icy expanse. Along the Atlantic, the Mi'kmaq fished and navigated the rugged coastline. The Haudenosaunee, or Iroquois Confederacy, built powerful alliances, creating one of the world's oldest participatory democracies. Their wampum belts recorded treaties and histories, symbolizing unity and shared purpose. Then, in the 16th and 17th centuries, Europeans arrived, first the French, then the English, drawn by the promise of fur, fish, and fertile land. Their arrival marked the beginning of a new era, one of profound change and challenge. The French established settlements in Quebec, forging alliances and trading partnerships with Indigenous peoples. Through intermarriage and shared lives, a new people emerged, the Métis Nation, blending European and Indigenous heritage. The English soon followed, competing for land and resources. This sparked both conflicts and alliances with Indigenous nations and the French, setting the stage for centuries of shifting power and negotiation that would shape the continent's destiny. The 7 Years' War ended with Britain in control of much of North America. French-speaking communities found themselves under British rule, creating tensions and cultural divides that still echo in Canada's identity today. This early history is a story of encounter, trade, conflict, and adaptation. Indigenous and European peoples exchanged goods, ideas, and sometimes even worldviews, learning from one another in ways both big and small. Europeans brought new technologies, metal tools, firearms, and written language, but also devastating diseases like smallpox, which swept through Indigenous communities with tragic consequences. Yet, it was Indigenous knowledge that often ensured the newcomers' survival through harsh winters and unfamiliar terrain. The groundwork for modern Canada was laid in this messy, complex meeting of worlds. Cultures blended, clashed, and adapted, creating new identities and ways of living that would shape the nation for centuries to come. Canada is a nation born not from simple conquest or replacement, but from ongoing negotiation, cooperation, and sometimes painful compromise, a legacy that continues to define its story today. After the British takeover, Canada was born in 1867, not with a revolution, but with meetings, debates, and a handshake. 4 provinces started the Dominion, dreaming of a country from sea to sea. Treaties with First Nations were signed, seen as land sales by the government, but as sacred agreements by Indigenous leaders. The meaning of these treaties is still debated today. The Transcontinental Railroad was the backbone, built by thousands, including Chinese workers who faced brutal conditions. When the last spike was driven, Canada was physically united. Immigration boomed, with newcomers settling the prairies and building new communities. This era was about growth, expansion, and the tough work of turning regions into a nation. It set the stage for the Canada we know now. Canada's greatest treasure is its wild landscape, more lakes than anywhere else, and a coastline that could take decades to walk. Our national parks, starting with Banff, protect these wonders: mountains, turquoise lakes, and grizzlies. Head north to the Arctic, homeland of the Inuit, and you'll find a world of tundra, midnight sun, and northern lights. The Arctic is vibrant, not empty, and it's on the front lines of climate change. Our history is tied to the land. From cod fisheries to forests and oil sands, we've always balanced resource use with preservation. Canadians feel a deep connection to nature. Weekends at the cottage, canoe trips, or just a walk in the woods. These places are more than scenery, they're the heart of who we are. They remind us to care for the land for today and tomorrow. What does it mean to be Canadian? It's a question with as many answers as there are people in this vast country. There's no single definition, no one-size-fits-all description. Canada is a land of contrasts and connections, where identity is shaped by both our differences and the values we share. We're not defined by one language, one religion, or even one way of life. Instead, we come together around shared values, politeness, fairness, and a sense of humor that helps us get through long winters and everyday challenges. Whether it's holding the door for a stranger or sharing a laugh with friends from all walks of life, these small acts of kindness and respect are woven into the fabric of our society. We're famous for saying sorry, not always because we're wrong, but because we value keeping the peace and making others feel comfortable. It's a little word that speaks volumes about our desire to get along, to smooth over rough edges, and to show empathy in our daily interactions. Our identity is also shaped by our relationship with the United States. We share a border, a love of hockey, and a taste for maple syrup, but we're proud of the ways we're different, too. We admire American culture, but we also work hard to carve out our own path. We're proud of our universal healthcare system, where everyone has access to medical care, and of our stricter gun laws that reflect our commitment to safety and community well-being. These choices reflect our collective priorities and the kind of society we want to build. Even in the way we spell words like color with a U, we show our unique identity, a blend of British and American influences that's all our own. We celebrate everyday heroes like Terry Fox, whose courage and determination continue to inspire generations of Canadians to dream big and give back. And we honor artists who capture the spirit of our land and people, from painters and poets to musicians and filmmakers who tell our stories in their own unique ways. Canadian identity is always evolving. A conversation that happens at citizenship ceremonies, on the ice at hockey games, and even while shoveling snow together after a storm. It's found in the way we welcome newcomers, cheer for our teams, and help our neighbors through tough times. We're comfortable with complexity, a nation of regions, each with its own character, from the rugged coasts of the Atlantic to the towering mountains of the West, and the vibrant cities and quiet towns in between. Our story is made richer by the many cultures, languages, and histories that call this land home. From Indigenous traditions to French and English heritage, and the contributions of newcomers from around the world, our diversity is our strength. Maybe that's the most Canadian thing of all, coming together, respecting our differences, and building a community where everyone belongs. We're a mosaic, not a melting pot. Each person brings their own story, their own traditions, and together, we create something beautiful and unique. And we're always figuring out what that means. Through conversation, collaboration, and a willingness to listen and learn from one another. That's what it means to be Canadian. Always growing, always welcoming, and always proud of who we are. To understand modern Canada, look at two values, multiculturalism and environmentalism. In 1971, Canada officially embraced multiculturalism, encouraging people to keep their languages and traditions. Our cities are mosaics. Walk a few blocks and you'll taste the world. Festivals celebrate every culture and diversity is seen as a strength even if challenges remain. Environmental stewardship is just as important. We cherish our wild spaces and debate how to protect them. We've led on issues like acid rain and national parks, but still wrestle with our carbon footprint. Canadians believe in caring for the land, whether through policy or local cleanups. Protecting nature and celebrating diversity are at the heart of who we are. To really get Canada, you have to hear its stories. First, the Indigenous experience, centuries of resilience, revitalization, and the ongoing fight for justice after tragedies like residential schools. Then, the French-English dynamic, Quebec's unique culture, the push for independence, and the constant negotiation that shapes our unity. Finally, the immigrant story, millions arriving since World War II, building new lives and enriching our culture. These stories aren't separate, they overlap, conflict, and shape each other. The history of settlement can't be told without Indigenous displacement. Modern Canada can't be told without immigration. Understanding these perspectives is key to understanding Canada itself. They're the threads of our national fabric. Canada is always being built and rebuilt by those who call it home. So, what is Canada? It's a quilt, stitched from a million different pieces. It's the vast north and the bustling cities, ancient roots and new arrivals. Our story is one of conversations, arguments and compromise, not revolution. The land shapes us, and our connection to nature runs through every culture here. Our identity is a collection of stories, always evolving as we try to make space for everyone. It's messy, complicated and dynamic, a living experiment in peaceful coexistence. Canada is a promise, a place where you can be yourself, where diversity is a strength, and where we strive to be fair and compassionate. We may never have a final answer to what Canada is, and that's okay, because the journey, the conversation, and the act of stitching that quilt together is what truly makes us Canadian.